Hello, everybody. It's Robert Goldberg, First Amendment TV, and we have our famous political corruption reporter, Joey Rullo. And Joey Rullo's got a new, updated story on the Bridgegate, I would say, something a little bit connected to it.
How you doing there, Robert?
Doing good. How's everything?
Great. I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you very much for the prior shows. We've been having an unbelievable viewership, in the thousands.
Yes.
Our new segment is going to be called in testimony to the Emmys and the Golden Globe Awards that were just held. We're going to be calling this segment New Jersey Hustle, Port Authority, and Bridgegate.
Interesting. So, where's the connection?
Just to give an update on, what's going on with Bridgegate to start out with, pretty much the governor's aide, who is the assistant chief of staff, she pled the fifth, along with Weinstein, who was the governor's appointee in Port Authority. Weinstein is working a deal that he's going to give information, but Bridget is in the process of finding out with the appeals court of the state of New Jersey if she's going to have to present the subpoena documents. So this is going to take a little bit of time. What I wanted to cover on this segment was, again, the hustle that's going on in New Jersey. This Port Authority is obviously a slush fund and a patronage outpost for both parties. And I think that we have a very interesting show that we're going to present with connecting the dots and crossing the T's.
I just want to interrupt for 1 second for people that do not live in the New Jersey or New York area that do not know about the New York, New Jersey Port Authority, which handles the three major airports in New York City and New Jersey, which is Newark Liberty Airport, LaGuardia Airport in Queens, and JFK Airport in Queens also. It's on the Queens-Brooklyn border. They operate all of those airports plus majority of the large bridges in New York and tunnels. So this is a big corporation that was formed years and years ago, and they are the original developers and owners of the World Trade Center also. And it's a organization, it's a corporation, and it's run, but it's, like you said, a patronage mill for favoritism for jobs, which are extremely high-paying jobs compared to your New York City Police Department or your biggest and most largest police departments in New Jersey in any cities. The pay, salary, the benefits, the retirement packages are huge compared to those New York City or New Jersey cities police department and fire departments.
And it's intertwined with New Jersey and New York state government.
Yes.
Both in legal approvals. But the biggest part is it's a hidden tax. Fees for marriages, fees for on hotels and flights that are hidden, on gas, sometimes up to 50% of what you pay for gas. But tolls on bridges are extremely high. And one of the hustles that has recently been exposed with Port Authority is that the infamous Bill Baroni, who we're going to cover today,
right,
who was receiving $300,000 a year in an appointed position by Governor Christie, $300,000 a year, while there's people out there that are starving and unemployed and basically can't even afford to buy milk and to buy gas for their car to find a job. This gentleman's getting paid $300,000 a year. Well, Bill Baroni worked with Weinstein, which again, covering the second hustle, had a job created for him. And again, Bill Baroni is the gentleman who said, let's stop the traffic flow from going. Let's start traffic, as well as Weinstein. Weinstein was appointed to his position, but it's a little bit more unique. Weinstein's position was created specifically so that he can be a watchdog for the governor in Port Authority. It is a $150,000 position, and that position now is not important now that he resigned, and he hasn't been replaced. That's because there was no job description. $150,000 a year for no job description. Well, the big thing is if you combine these two, these are the two that basically are responsible, with his assistant chief of staff, who's now being subpoenaed and is pleading the fifth because she doesn't want to incriminate herself, and the courts are going to decide. This is so intertwined. This is a hustle. And the bottom line is, people, because of Bill Baroni and because of Weinstein, they concocted a scam where they had a war room in Manhattan, and they were trying to sell the public on a higher toll increase than what was going to be put out there and approved by the governor, who was supposed to come in at a lower number. This just broke. It's a circle. It's a cycle. It's a pattern. And it's a perk. It's a bipartisan perk. And the governor of New Jersey has spent a lot of time going after MUAs throughout the state of New Jersey, both Republican and Democrat, because of their high-paid salaries of $200,000 for some of these chairmen. Yet, Port Authority has never even been mentioned even once. None of these three, for example, we had a corrupt superintendent in Toms River who's now spending 11 years in prison, which was one of the first shows I've ever done. Well, this superintendent was getting paid $300,000 a year. The school board lowered his pay. Who gets paid like Bill Baroni $300,000 a year? The vice president of the United States gets paid less money than an appointee by Governor Christie. Why is that so high? Well, the state doesn't pay for that. Yes, they do. We, as people that are on those tolls, are paying that, and that's a fee, that's a tax.
Just one thing also. Governor Christie's salary is not even that high.
He's getting paid more than the governor, and he elected the governor, and most people that are good boys and do what they're supposed to do in politics, whether it be Democrat or Republican, get put into the stall of the heavenly trough to feed, and that trough that they feed out of, it's called Port Authority. Port Authority needs to be investigated. We have a very serious problem here. People are paying over $15 for bridge tolls, and there's no accountability. There's positions of people that are right now under criminal matters of obstruction of justice and all sorts of abuse of power. And these salaries, some of these salaries are no-show jobs. They should be eliminated, and the tolls should be decreased so that commuters can afford to go to work. That's what those bridges are for.
Another question I have that I just thought of as you were discussing this, that it's a political trough for different political officials. Our governor is a Republican, but most of the legislature in New Jersey is Democrat. So do you think that Eric Holder might want to investigate this, or because there's probably so many Democrats in the Port Authority that they would ignore this also?
Well, I want to give you an example. You have a mayor that was a Democrat in Cherry Hill who was the last head person over at Port Authority, getting paid $300,000 a year. And when she left, because Christie appointed his person, because that's the way it works, when a Republican gets in, they appoint a Republican person, she was then appointed to a trust, if you will, or a foundation for Cooper Medical Center, which is connected to South Jersey Democrat Party boss Norcross. $300,000 a year foundation position exchanged when she was basically fired so that Christie's appointee got put in.
Now,
another thing that I wanted to discuss with you was there's a Nicole Criffo, and she was under subpoena with the governor in the governor's office. And Nicole Criffo, I hope I'm saying it right, she is now working for the person who replaced Baroni, who had to resign due to Bridgegate, who is getting paid $300,000 a year. So let me make sure the audience understands. Nicole Criffo, who's under subpoena, leaves the governor's office and goes into a cush job at Port Authority where she is now. And she's working for Bill Baroni, replacement, who had to leave because of abuse of power and possible obstruction of justice. So this is a shelter for people, and they need to, because it is public and because the federal government oversees it as well as the state, they need to go in and they need to investigate this. This is a hustle. This is a New Jersey hustle that we have going on here as Port Authority.
We can't ignore New Jersey hustle, because the Port Authority also is a partnership between New York State also. So it's the same thing also. You got to think that both states and both governors have equal appointees or favoritism going into the Port Authority. So you can't say New Jersey's dominating the Port Authority more than New York is. I'm sure they have it.
Which is why I agreed with you that it's a bipartisan problem and that you have both Democrats and Republicans, and it doesn't matter. It's the incumbent that is basically benefiting from the appointments. And when they're elected and reelected, this is where they stall their thoroughbreds, and they make sure that they put them in good hiding and ready to come out and fight the war wherever that may be next.
Yes.
And these jobs are interchangeable.
Yes.
For example,
I would just like to make it clear also to let people know you have a Democratic governor, so he's part of this game also.
Of course, they're all part of it, but right now, the New York governor doesn't have the FBI, the Attorney General's office, subpoenas. You know, I'm trying to focus on, what is exactly going on. To keep the subject, true, is that Bill Baroni, who had to resign due to abuse of power and is now currently pleading the fifth, was replaced by someone else, and Governor Christie has a subpoenaed worker there who left and got a job working for the guy's replacement. There's something that is very, very wrong here. In other words, you lose your job in the governor's office and you go to Port Authority. You see the difference is that they're interchangeable. Okay, I don't want to work at Port Authority. I'm going to go work in the governor's office now. There's a clear pattern of it.
Now,
and I'm sure New York has the same problem.
Now, since Baroni left that position, would he still be getting a pension from the Port Authority? And then his new position.
I am not sure. I am not sure. I know that he's not getting a paycheck. And I believe that Port Authority is trying to not pay the legal fees, and that's going back to Weinstein. Weinstein pretty much is going to, his attorney has made an offer that they're going to give information that the governor was involved with Bridgegate after saying he wasn't involved with Bridgegate. The exchange is going to be that Port Authority pays his legal fees and or the Attorney General, which is what he's really worried about, is the U.S. Attorney General. And I believe that's what Bridget's worried about as well, the governor's ex-aide. The U.S. Attorney General's office is criminal, and they want immunity. And if Weinstein gets immunity, he's offering to basically give up information, which I'm sure he's going to give it up anyway. Again, Bridget Kelly, the same thing. She's in a position where she's being subpoenaed. She refuses to give information. but within weeks or days, we're going to be finding out if the court mandates, basically she's going to have to give up that information and everything that's, got to be given, up with that information.
Well, she was pleading the fifth, so any information she had or documentation, she's saying is part of her Fifth Amendment right. So she's not even willing to divulge any documents that they had, because basically in a court of law, the government has to prove her guilty. She doesn't have to self-incriminate herself.
Under a criminal case, though, if this goes with the USAG and the FBI, that information is going to have to be given up eventually, I believe. If it's proven that she is in a criminal manner, as well as Baroni and Weinstein, they're just playing the games in the beginning, but I think that the hardball is going to start soon. You could basically tell, by the level of, appearances by the governor, they're decreasing, as well as the reluctance, in 3 separate states, Florida, Texas, and Chicago area. Nobody was willing, congressmen and governors and things like that, they were unwilling to be seen in public with the governor. Politicians, are weasels, and they survive, and they know when the end is coming. And I don't mean the end so much to the governor, but the end of this conclusion. And I believe that we're going to find out what we already pretty much know, is that this is a utmost failure of leadership, with all these people that have committed, at the very least, tragic abuses of power, have bullied children going to school, blocking bridges, causing 911 disasters, causing economic chaos to a city. My big thing, why I'm calling this segment New Jersey Hustle, is that there's Americans that are hardworking out there that if they made $30,000, $40,000 right now and can get off of unemployment, they would be happy.
Yes.
And the governor of New Jersey has spent a lot of time going after the MUAs, saying that these are municipal utility authorities because these are, again, like Port Authority. They run on their own. They are connected like Port Authority is to government. They're regulated, etc. But they appoint sometimes people in excess of $200,000, $300,000. The governor has declared war on that, which I praised him for. But with Port Authority, he's not blind. He knows Bill Baroni was getting $300,000, and shame on you. Shame on you for giving Weinstein a $150,000 a year job, and there was no job description. Those are things, and Weinstein's job was created for the governor, for Weinstein. And there's proof out there, and it's all politicians. And again, you watch my first couple of segments, Christie did a great job as a attorney general. He took out a lot of people that were criminals and corruption, but this Port Authority is corrupt, and it's part of the New Jersey hustle that we need to investigate, and we need to get inside there. I haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg yet when we started talking about Sampson, who runs that whole entire thing, and that's a whole different segment. Okay, the connections between all the different development going on and all the profits and his law firm and the interconnecting spider web throughout New Jersey. We haven't even gotten to the bottom of it, but,
The person that was getting this, because there's so many names, I get a little flustered when I'm dealing with so many articles and everything all over the place. I'm not great with names. What was the name of the person that's getting a $300,000 a year salary again?
Bill Baroni.
Okay.
Who
now
he lost his job, basically.
Right. Now I want to know, do they have any employee records? Was he supposed to be punching in on the clock, or basically was it like a no-show job? Did he ever go to the Port Authority? Did people see him there? Because that's the next question. He was given that job. Now, does anyone see him there, or, even punching in a clock. So that would make it even worse of a criminal charge because it shows a total political corruption that was done there.
It's a salaried job, so you're not going to have any clock punching. And again, you know, what made this whole entire Bridgegate so confusing to a lot of people is that the governor's, you know, initial election, most of those people reelected him and were also trying to run him for president at the same time, and are also connected to Port Authority. And this is why this is so confusing. People who were on his election and re-election campaign working for Port Authority, and then some of them working directly for his administration, but then going to Port Authority after they get subpoenas. So, you know, my main beef here, and I've been getting a lot of viewers who have been emailing me about it, is that no one deserves $300,000 a year in this economy. Not with the bridge tolls that are up in the $15, $16, $17 area. You're talking about a huge amount of money, $300,000 a year, and this guy's going to retire with a pension of almost $300,000 a year? Right. You have to be kidding me. Well, and a $150,000 a year job. But let's keep this in mind. Okay, Nicole Crifo, who went to Port Authority, is now under subpoena, leaves the governor's office with a subpoena. Come on. And then you have Weinstein, who lied under oath, who is now also, we find out his job was created specifically as a favor to the governor. And then we find out that he was getting paid $150,000 a year with no job title. And then we find out Bill Baroni, who basically is, you know, the mastermind of his election for governor initially, and his reelection is basically at the forefront of not only obstruction of justice, but also abuse of power scandal and strong-arming people so that they vote for the governor and endorse him. This gentleman was getting paid $300,000 a year, and this is, to me, criminal. This Port Authority is robbing commuters. AAA, their lawsuit is great. I think that they should jump on this. I think that voters should focus on this, and I think people are sick and tired of it.
AAA's lawsuit a few years ago when they raised the tolls on the Verrazano-Narrows Bridge, which is part of the New York Port Authority, they got that rescinded. But people don't realize also that are not in the state and don't use these facilities or see them. So the amount of toll, I don't remember what it is for the Verrazano-Narrows Bridge that you see the New York Marathon starting point. The bridge maintenance looks terrible. It looks like it's got rust cancer all over the upper deck. So they're getting all this money in from tolls. It's astronomical the money, the pay and pensions that are going out on that, and they can't maintain the bridge properly. It looks disgusting. It's supposed to be an iconic image for New York City, especially when you have the marathon, and it's loaded with rust all over the place. They're not even maintaining it properly.
Again, Port Authority has become a patronage pit, and again, Weinstein with Baroni, both the governor's appointees, one who had no job title, so you can get in a lot of trouble without a job title, and the other gentleman getting paid $300,000 a year, orchestrated a campaign so that they made it look like the governor of New York and of New Jersey are both fiscal hawks by throwing out a number that was higher to raise the bridge tax by that they would approve for, but would be high enough that would be acceptable for both governors. Okay? You're talking about hijinks. So we're running out of time. I want to thank the viewers for tuning in. We will be very soon having another episode, and we will see you very soon. And thank you very much, Robert Goldberg. And you have anything left to say?
Yes, I just want to remind people that please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, First Amendment TV, the website that I had created, which is a conservative news network, mainly for New Jersey, but there's a lot of stories that go on in New Jersey that affect the rest of the country or are similar to what's going on in the country. You can go to the website. The address is right down here for the website for First Amendment TV. Log in. You can stay current on what's going on in the conservative movement in New Jersey as far as with other Tea Party groups, and I'm getting some political officials that are running for office on there. And but please subscribe to First Amendment TV on a YouTube channel and visit us on the website. And as we get more information, we'll be posting it. Also, I would like and encourage people, if you have a comment about our story, you can make a comment on the YouTube channel also and let us know what you think and what you would like to see us talk about, and we'll look at it and get into it. We do look at these sites on the YouTube channel for the remarks, so we do pay attention, and we're looking to hear from you. So please get involved, people. Subscribe. Thank you very much.